Hi everyone, this is Milind Kaulgud. Welcome to Let's Catch Up and Interact session. It's a unique opportunity to engage with the experienced professional. The expert shares their insights, practical experiences, which will provide all of us with the knowledge across various fields, seek actionable insights that can enrich our personal and professional growth. So let me start with the story building grounds up. Early morning light as I sip my cup of tea. This was the beginning of our new project, fresh or full of promises. Yet, with all given chances, my senior colleague and I were staying in the modest guest house situated just across the project site. It felt like we were poised at the edge of something significant, ready to embark on this journey together. As I looked out, I noticed families of laborers who had arrived late in the previous night, a couple, their two children's, and their hustle bustle of their morning routines captivated my attention. They moved with purpose, tending to each other's needs with intimate familiarity, preparing to face another day for work. The mother skillfully organized their makeshift home, and the father checked their tools and supplies. The children's bright eyed and curious mirrored their parents' eagerness, embodying the hope that each sunrise brings to them. Watching them settle within uncertainty of their circumstances struck a chord deep within me. They had transformed the essential life to a makeshift home, symbolizing the resilience and determination necessary for any endeavor, especially ours. With the minimal resources, this family is focused intently on day's work, fundamentally a truth, sense of purpose, and a collective effort, so something which was very visible. The morning ritual was not just a routine, it was a profound metaphor for that what we are trying to build in our organizations. Just like laborers, we were laying our groundwork, establishing roles, assessing responsibilities, and creating structures necessary for the project. This is every team member, like each of the family member, plays critical role in achieving our common vision. Their aim was clear: to earn a living, to support their families, mirroring our aspirations to create thriving organization that nurtures its people. It is community of individuals, each contributing to their unique strength towards a shared dream. Embracing resilience, fostering collaboration, and cultivating a shared purpose would be a key to even the organization journey. To understand and seek more deeper insights, we have with us Mr. Milind Kaulgud, a seasoned human resource professional who has built organizations from the scratch and takes a pride in running them successfully. I have a very unique relationship with Milind Kaulgud. Out of my career, 1 decade I have spent with him as he was my boss. Before the term mentoring and coaching has come in, I've seen it happening in practice through Mr. Milind Kaulgud. And that 10 years of mine made me to add to my professional career in a big way. A big gratitude to him for all what he has done for me and for many more of us who has worked with him. Here, Mr. Milind Kaulgud's introduction for you. Milind Kaulgud, board member, SES Global Technology Services Private Limited, former CHRO and VP HR and board member of T-System ICT India Private Limited, an accomplished global leader with extensive experience in initiating greenfield projects across the manufacturing, automotive, information technology, and BPO KPO sectors. Recognized for a strategic approach in HR consulting, compensation reward management, and nurturing talent from C-suite executives to various job roles. Proven ability to rapidly scale operations through technical recruiting, selection of our top management leaders, and development of effective HR policies. A strong business development professional with the MBA in human resource and marketing management, combining deep industry knowledge and with a result oriented and driven mindset. Key skills: change management, HR transformation, employee engagement, relationship, employee benefits, performance management, and people development. Employee branding, talent acquisition, recruiting, sourcing, and management. Financial and business analysis, global HR management and succession planning, HR consulting and strategic HR, organizational leadership and alignment, policies and systems, HRIS, human resource information system. Key achievements at T-System: re-entry strategy, successfully recruited by T-System Germany to lead the re-entry strategy in India after 8 years of a gap. Offshore centers, established offshore delivery center of T-Systems at Pune, Bangalore, and Gurgaon, expanding the workforce to over 4,000 employees within 7 years. Talent acquisition, identified recruited leaders who progress global roles, enhancing the organization talent pool. Strategic development, collaborating with the German team on offshore strategy to align operations and objectives. Recognition, instrumental in earning the title of Best Place to Work due to exceptional employee satisfaction and engagement. CSR initiatives, launched community-focused corporate social responsibility programs that positively impacted local communities. Key responsibilities: executive role, served as a member of executive team reporting directly to a president and CEO. Global HR oversight, led to all HR activities for the Indian operations of the world's largest commercial vehicle manufacturer, managing global HR functions across North America, Europe, and Asia with a combined workforce of over 4,200 employees. Strategic, provided strategic HR leadership focusing employee engagement, organization development, talent acquisition, senior leadership recruitment, financial oversight, manage HR budgeting, cost control while optimizing IT for enhanced HR service delivery. Key contribution: T-Systems operations played a pivotal role in establishing T-System operations in India and China, structuring organization development and recruitment strategy, leading large HR team and effective HR framework, strategizing employee development and outsourcing of non-core HR activities, HR re-engineering, led to HR processes, policies, launching new performance management system, global management, oversaw HR operations across North America, Europe, Asia, managing workforce exceeding 4,200. Overall accountability, responsible for HR, industrial relations, administration activities, as well as HR administration and finance activities of P&O and Deloitte IT services. Employee engagement, develop implemented comprehensive employee engagement programs, focus on organization development, talent acquisition, and senior leadership roles. Manage budgets with the cost controls and helping IT to optimize. Let me quickly take you through his professional experience. Current position: board member of SES Global Technology Services Private Limited from April 2024 to present in a freelancer and remote mode. Consulting role with T-Systems from 24 to 25 as a management consultant T-System ICT, CHRO and Vice President T-Systems from 2016 to December 2023 at Pune. Vice President HR, Fortune Motors from 2011 till 2016 at Pune. Head of HR, Tata Technologies from 2007 to 2011. Chief HR Officers in T-System from 2004 to 2007. General Manager HR and Administration at P&O Deloitte 2001 to 2004. Senior HR Manager at Eaton Thermo Group 1997 to 2001. Human Resource Manager in 1994 to 97 at Tetra Pak. HR Manager Marico Industries Limited 1989 to 1994. Management Trainee Exide Industries Limited 1987 to 1989. I am really fortunate to have Mr. Kaulgud to start questions and get his insights, valuable insights, inputs for all of us to follow it, to become successful into the HR and the management career. Thank you. Milind, let me start with the question. While you build the organizations, my question to you is, in your extensive experience with the greenfield projects and organization development, what are the 3 to 4 fundamental challenges commonly encountered while you are establishing the operations in India?
Yeah, indeed a good question, and I don't know whether you I've worked in many greenfield projects. To name few, basically Tetra Pak, MTS, P&O Lloyd, T-Systems, Photon, and all. So what I've noticed in all these companies that there is a total commitment from the top management to start, and here I would say that there is agility in every aspect, which you don't experience when you work in a very established, structured organization after a couple of years. So first and foremost, there has to be a complete commitment from the top management, a clear line of sight of all business objectives, and the responsibility of HR is to get everybody on the same page. And initially, when you start a greenfield project, you would see every individual who's joining comes with a lot of ideas, aspirations, and wants to present the best step forward. And this helps. So the culture that you create, especially in the greenfield project, you would notice a lot of enthusiasm, energy, initiatives are accepted at ease, and everybody is ready to roll up the sleeves. So this, I would say, is very important when you start a greenfield project, that there has to be total commitment from the top management, there has to be business blueprint, and then everybody which you pick up, the talent that you pick up, I normally see a high level of energy, because I may bridge the gap of communication, I may bridge the gap of knowledge, I may give him a lot of experience, but I cannot bring the energy in the person. That has to be within. So when I select candidates, I normally see whether they are enthusiastic, they are excited to join a new organization, and they are ready to take some risks. Because when you start a greenfield project, don't expect everything to go as planned.
Right.
You would come across with some challenges as you proceed with, and here the talent that you select must have that acceptance to work in ambiguous environment initially. Over a period of time, we build processes, we formulate policies, we bring a lot of tools, and things basically become more and more, I would say, structured. But initially, in a greenfield project, you need people to have mindset to work in ambiguous environment.
Got it. Yeah. So the second question to you, Milind, is in building a strong employee brand, what unique challenges did you face in the technology-driven organization, manufacturing organization, and how did you address them to attract the top brand or top talent, I would say?
Very good question. It's not easy, because you are talking about starting a new or an unknown brand. So when you talk about introducing your brand in the job market, what you need to really do is pick up some top talent who is not only looking from the perspective of joining a top brand or established brand, but has a lot of ideas and energy and enthusiasm and strategy in mind to make a significant dent. I have picked up that talent by selling basically the opportunities that they have to bring their ideas and see them implemented, because you don't basically normally get that opportunity when you join an established organization. With an established organization, you have already many things set, and unless that organization goes through a transformation phase, you end up in carrying out a maintenance role. So whenever I have picked up the top talent, I have actually sold them the opportunity that they have here to bring their ideas, bring their talent which they have also tapped from their own sources. And what is more important is to sell is the sense of purpose, that if we are going to start a new setup, they would see that particular organization growing in the next couple of years, and they themselves will have a pride that they have contributed in setting this organization. So whenever I have picked up the talent, my tagline is take a pride in building this organization.
Okay.
And when you have that pride, you would put your best in, because you will bring the right resources, you have the right mindset, and you will ensure that each one of them are really walking extra miles. What is very important in greenfield projects is that we want people to be not just talking about given job description, but going little beyond, walking extra mile. Can they really do this? And I have seen when I was hiring people My entire HR team used to come over weekends. I never used to tell them to come on weekends, but they used to come on weekends. They used to call all the candidates. They used to run some kind of orientation for all the candidates, and then they were making an offer. And everywhere the tagline was, "Take a pride in building this organization."
Okay. So it will remain same, be it manufacturing, be it technology.
It's same.
It's a question of commitment of the talent, and the believing in the purpose which they are going to join in for.
Yeah. So the success lies here, how you really tap that talent, because you will get a lot of candidates who are ready to take responsibilities because they want to work in a new organization and grow in the hierarchy. But what is more important is whether the candidate has the fire in his belly and whether he is ready to walk extra mile and really roll up the sleeves, because in greenfield projects many things are not in order. I have worked in organizations where we had not even had an office. So we said, okay, let's set up an office, but let's initially start from maybe a small place, grow there. So nobody should have this any objection or reservations about, oh, I'm joining an organization which doesn't have an office. When I joined an established organization globally, I did not have my own email ID of the company. I did not have the domain address of the company. I started with Gmail, but yes, they all knew that we have a big plan and everything will fall in line in a couple of months. And even you, when
Yes.
I got you in PN and Android, we were just 120 odd folks.
Yes.
And I was given a brief that we would grow to 3,000 plus.
Yes.
So I had to tell you that, look, I cannot tell you everything what is going to happen over here, but I can see there is a sense of purpose. There is a clear commitment coming from the top management, and they want to grow fast, and they really look for talent like you and me who would help them grow, and things fell in line.
Absolutely. So faith in each other, trust, believing in each other, believing in bigger purpose is something which will drive the brand.
Yes. The
Thank you.
individual credibility of the leader plays an important role, because people, in my opinion, join that individual. It is said in the industry that people join, managers, join organizations but leave managers. But I have slightly disagreement with this. People look up to that individual. They want to see that individual is really helping them to also grow in their own career. And when they see there is enough, I would say, reputation of that individual, that he makes people successful, people immediately latch on to such person and they join without asking any questions. I did not negotiate compensation with the folks that worked with me. I said everything will fall in place provided we really are successful, and everything fell in place one by one. We could offer them the desired titles, the compensation, but initially I never negotiated on compensation, because I used to say very clearly, first let's deliver.
Yes.
And once we deliver, then everything will fall in place.
So next question to you, Milind. You have seen the organizations growing, coming to a particular size. I am talking to you since last few years. These are trained of diversity and inclusion. So they were, organizations who were driving this initiative of diversity, equity, inclusion. What is your point of view on that?
Very good question, and I have a difference in this topic. I really talk about, yes, I do respect diversity, inclusion, and equity, which is an important aspect, but I draw your attention to first that why organizations are established. They're meant to basically earn profits, right? And you can achieve this by A, picking the right talent, having a proper strategy, business strategy in place, and be a competitive environment. So diversity, equity and inclusion, my thoughts here are, rather than looking only this aspect, look at also neutrality. Because when you have a couple of candidates in front of you, focus only in picking the merited candidate rather than just looking from the angle of diversity aspect. Because at the end of the day, that individual has to really stand up and deliver, and he or she has to work with people, and people must look up to that individual with the respect that the individual brings a lot of value on the table, has a lot of ideas, and in my opinion, these three aspects don't promise that. Many times people have to make a forced decision to pick up a candidate because of the directives coming from the corporate. So I have been always saying that if you get two good candidates, both stand on the merit, then you have a choice to choose maybe a women employee if you have to choose, because then you have to really do the balance between. But my focus always remains in neutrality. I always focus on talent. I have not looked at only from the diversity point of view. And this particular aspect, if I give an example of manufacturing, uh, even if you have a diversity index, it is difficult to really identify in a place like India uh, for shop floor engineers, right? Because there is a situation where you need to really stretch, and there are limitations for women employees because of the family responsibilities they hold. So I would say that look from an angle of neutrality, be it is in armed forces, be it is in services, be it is in manufacturing or in IT industry. Focus more on neutrality, and in the process, if you're lucky to find some good candidates, uh, help them basically meet your diversity index. But I would not basically recommend that only focus on diversity and inclusion and all, because at the end of the day, the buck stops at you, and you need to really pick up candidate who stands up on merit.
Got it. So with diversity, equity, inclusion, you want to add up neutrality, meritocracy, and competence.
Exactly.
So this six will make more balance as compared to only three.
So I would say that you focus on talent and meritocracy, and in the process, if you are lucky to find some good candidate, please pick them. But and I would also draw your attention, just do some survey across the global industry. How many companies are deliberately choosing, say, diversity candidate to lead the organization? There are very few. They are not giving this kind of thrust when it comes to choosing the top talent for the organization. So there also they are always focusing on merit and neutrality. And I can give also another example of Indian Armed Forces. There is a focus to have diversity in Indian Armed Forces, but there are certain roles like field soldiers. Uh, Men are preferred more because
Hardships.
the hardships around and the challenges sometimes the women would face in a warfare. Uh, Men are some, you would say, they're better off. So I'm not basically doubting the capabilities of women, but there are certain roles that you have to really have men around, and there are certain roles where only you have to have women around. So have that balance between the two. Identify such roles where women can fit well in, but don't have this index that you have to have a diversity index of 50-50. In world, it is not happening. Even the well-established developed countries, the index is around 40%.
Yep, got it. Next one, Milind, we are going from to a different topic. Like, how do you think the challenges which you have faced to work with a global management team, and how did you really align or convince them to work in Indian ways of working?
Very excellent question, and let me share you plenty of my experience in offshoring. I worked in companies where offshoring was kicked off by the top management of this global organization because they were thoroughly convinced that India offers a good offshoring solution, not just the cost arbitrage but also the talent. Whereas the middle management in these organizations which I worked with was not thoroughly convinced because when you talk about offshoring, somebody has to do a job somewhere in the world so that somebody is picked up in India. And most of the companies start up in India because of cost arbitrage, which is a fact of the life. Also tap on the time zone difference. And the last one comes to the talent. But I would say that talent comes first, cost arbitrage and time zone as a fallout. To convince the middle management of these companies was a big challenge because the work has to transition only from these people. The decision is made at the top to start India, the budgets are approved, but who will really make it happen is the middle management because they have to transition work, they have to start new projects in India by picking Indian talent, and there I noticed some kind of resistance because they had question marks about whether India can really deliver. whether they would get that kind of experience individual compared to their own countries. So I have come across this kind of cynicism in the minds of many middle managers who were responsible for offshore. So to solve the problem, we have always suggested that rather than Indian talent traveling to those countries and sitting across with the managers, I would request other way around that I bring more and more project managers who are responsible for Indian offshore to sit in India, mingle around with our Indian talent, understand the way they're working, check how good they are in their own respective areas, and I have seen that there is a transformation. After they have visited once and twice, they were thoroughly convinced that India can deliver. They find the Indian talent is very open to ideas, very flexible in their approach, very warm in their overall behavior and conduct, and that basically became a transfer seed. So all those folks who came to India became basically advocates of India. Okay. So when they went to their respective countries, they corrected the perceptions which they had about that nothing works. India people have a snake charmers on the street, elephants walk on the street. All these stories which they heard, they were proven wrong. So to me, to be successful in a offshoring, you need a good understanding and buy-in from middle management.
Absolutely.
Because the buy-in is already there from the top.
So giving them an exposure to what we are doing here and making them confident about our work processes, talent, as something which has worked for you as a manager.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this has been common. I worked in a couple of companies, in IT companies as well as in manufacturing, where the investment came from abroad. This was my suggestion to them that rather than we traveling too much, let the other people from various countries come over here, spend some time. I would always suggest to my employees to take them to the shopping markets, entertain them a little bit. If possible, invite them at your home. Let them enjoy how
the society also.
So when they have a good understanding about how Indian culture, which is very warm, compared to European countries and all, where the Indian culture is known for its hospitality, and everyone who has gone back spoke very high about India's hospitality, and they were completely many. I can tell you that they fell in love with India.
Wonderful. So, Milind, next one, coming to your own domain of HR function, you have managed multiple regions of HR, and what are the key lessons or what are the key experiences you have drawn out of it? Are they the same as compared to your Indian team where you manage them, versus what are the cultural alignment or organizing which you have to do for them different?
Very, very good question. I have been always advocating that whenever I used to talk to the candidates or whenever I used to interact with the managers or visiting folks coming from various countries, I used to say that we are a global organization. We also have a offshore in India, and we are having the same practices. However, we have a local flavor. And I used to give a simple example of Indian dishes, which they like most. I said, unless you add Indian spices, you really cannot relish on that particular dish. So the recipe that you would have for Indian dishes has to be unique of India. So same applies also in whether you talk about employee practices or various other practices. I said we have to have a global mindset, but we have to have an Indian flavor because at the end of the day, you are operating out of India and you are talking to Indian talent. So you cannot be completely pushing the global practices in totality. You have to bring a nice blend between the two. So certain practices, say for example, goals and target setting, that is sacrosanct. You don't need to have Indian flavor there because the targets are basically being set at the top and they get cascaded down.
Absolutely.
And that you have to follow as is. Whereas when it comes to reviewing the compensation, when it comes to offering various HR benefits, you have to have basically the Indian flavor because at the end of the day, we are a family-driven culture. So globally, you may not have that kind of practices, but in India we promote these practices. That we celebrate birthdays. In most of the global organization, if you go to different countries in Europe and all, there is no such thing that you are invited for a monthly celebration of birthdays. But whereas in India, we enjoy doing this because we bring all together and make them to wish each other, and that's the way we create the bonding. The most important part for success, in my opinion, is how well you bond with each other. And to me, you don't need to spend too much money for bonding each other. You need to introduce various HR initiatives which really foster the bonding. Have an outbound training program, send the team out for one day, on the hill station where they can stay together, rub shoulders with each other, understand each other, and come back with a lot of energy back. I think these initiatives will really help to succeed, and not necessarily that everything happens in the global scenario will apply in India.
Got it.
That's, I would say, is the understanding required on both sides. The both HR tower leads from coming abroad as well as the local Indian talent head needs to understand this diversities.
Absolutely. So I've heard the term known as global. So global and local both flavors have to be taken wherever they are, aligning to the global practices, but ensuring there's some India flavor if you're doing as a branch of India, if you're following the HR practices.
Correct. Another example I would like to just give you that I think you must have traveled Europe and in US and other countries. You will see they're having left hand drive. Correct?
Yes.
I used to always tell them that when you land in India, you have to drive on the right.
Yes.
Correct? And even if you want to drive a left, Indian test not allowed.
Absolutely.
So certain practices are given.
Yes.
So we have to drive that way.
Yeah.
And we cannot be altering this method of driving on the left just because globally we have a left hand drive.
Absolutely.
I think you have to adapt to the local situations, and that's what I request to whenever I interact with the global leads who ask for having a standard HR practice. I said no, certain things you need to respect the local aspect, and I give this example about driving right hand.
Absolutely.
I said if you force everybody to drive left hand,
it will be
they
chaos.
will accidents. So to avoid this all, better you follow the local practices because that's the way it is.
Absolutely. Well, the next one goes, you have background in financial and business analysis. How do you integrate the financial consideration into HR strategies? When, typically, how does the HR and business objectives both align together according to you?
Very good question, and Milind, you would remember that we used to always get to know that HR is seen as a cost center. And I've been always saying in all my meetings that don't look at HR as a cost center, but look at also profit center. Now, it may not appeal to everyone because they would say that I'm talking something out of complete different side. But my thought process here is that HR contributes in your bottom line. HR also contributes in your top line. When HR hires candidates, HR is supposed to basically bring the best talent at a cost that we can afford, and HR does always a balancing act when it comes to cost pressures. So we contribute directly into the bottom line by at times optimizing the resources. We come out with various suggestions and strategies to help reduce the cost or optimize the cost. We also sometimes challenge the business leaders when it comes to labor cost, and we give a lot of basically suggestions. I have seen in many companies when we started the new operations, we had no other choice than to bring talent laterally, meaning experienced candidates from the various companies.
Yes.
Whereas I have always suggested that in a third year after the operations, start bringing the fresh, less experienced talent in the organization, which comes with less cost, but with a lot of energy and initiative, and replace them whenever you have some separations. Don't necessarily replace the candidate with the lateral hiring, but grow somebody from within the talent, and their approach has worked because your attrition reduces significantly because the young talent that you pick up, they get to see that they are getting an opportunity to grow. And whenever I used to have to go for induction, I used to showcase those individuals. I said, this guy joined me as a trainee and today he's so and so. And we used to share those success stories to the new employees. And we used to say that, look, you have an opportunity here to also grow if you follow this footstep. So to me, I don't think HR is a cost center.
Got
HR
it.
contributes to the bottom line as well as the top line by optimize the resources. HR always has a tab on the cost, and HR also challenges the business leaders at times if the costs are going high. So because reward and recognition is also part of the HR program.
Absolutely.
We do regular compensation surveys.
Yes.
All these surveys, all these initiatives help us to know how we are pitted against the competition,
Absolutely.
how competitive we are, and this is what I would say the HR folks, I would say the new young generation of HR folks really need to bring this value on the table, that don't see HR as just a staff function, be a
Absolutely.
line function. I have never accepted this concept that HR is a staff function. I said no, HR is a line function. HR contributes in strategizing your business operations. HR can really play a pivotal role, provided there is good credibility established by the HR leaders in the minds of the business leaders. If you have not established that credibility, and if it is not supported with your concrete deliverables, then I think you will not have a good acceptance to all your ideas. And I've seen many times the HR folks struggling to survive in those environments because they don't bring that value on the table. So to me, this is very important for the HR leaders to really bring that value on the table and see them they are contributing like a business leader.
Got it. So building talent pipeline, creating that aspirations, having to know the numbers and how these numbers impact top line and bottom line
Exactly.
is very critical for all the HR professionals.
Exactly, and not necessarily that every time just to keep yourself occupied or engaged or to showcase what you've been contributing. Don't bring training and development programs just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Have a clear strategy in mind that if you're really developing the talent within, and because you hire most of the time experienced individual.
Absolutely.
So I always used to tell my L&D person head that don't bring the suggestion just let's start this program for the sake of starting it. I said have a clear meaning. Please understand the problem statements. What is the problem, and then start. I can give an example in the new organization that I've been working with. We have a problem of communication because in India you also notice that south, east, west, north,
Absolutely.
our accents, dialects are different.
Yes.
And whereas the global leaders or I would say the global organization look at India as one country.
Absolutely.
And they get surprised that when they interact with person coming from south, north and all. So I said start the program of accent neutralization.
Absolutely.
Because let the employees know that they are interacting with the global leaders, they are interacting with people coming from Europe and Americas and other place, and they look up India as one country. So they don't understand that you have such a different dialects in your country, which is different. So sometimes they wonder, are they speaking to Indian?
Okay.
Because so we need to come out with such initiatives which really help the business.
Helps the business
Otherwise, just
outcome
don't
driven.
do it just for the sake of keeping yourself
Yeah.
occupied, or you have training budget and you need to spend
It's
it.
not a hygiene factor. It's something which is more in terms of outcome, impact to the business.
Impact. So you are very right in picking the word. Your training programs must bring a business impact
Absolutely.
on people.
So Milind, the last question to you is, you have seen, you started the organization where you could be a first employee or first few employees, and then built up the organization and went up to getting into a leadership role as a board member. Okay, now this is the journey which you have done. So you dealt with the transitions, you have dealt with the business strategies, overall setting up the organization, etc. From the perspective of your experience, what is that few things as an advice you would like to give to the new leaders who would like to take this part to go from transitions, all the levels, and be into the board membership?
Yeah, so I was lucky to have a board seat, and many times it is said that HR doesn't get that board seat, but I was lucky to have in a couple of companies which I worked at, I was selected as a board member. So when it comes to discussing this topic in the board, I can give an example which I remember. I won't name the company. This was in, I would say, when most of the IT companies were in a bad shape in 2008-10, when there was a recession. And the question came whether we should review the compensation of the employees. And most of the board members were inclined to say that if the industry is following this route, what is the need for you to compensate? You can also follow the same pursuit. And I basically stood up to say, no, I slightly disagree with this thought process. The reason being that inflation is there. People are required to spend more. And we have a moral responsibility to at least compensate to the tune of inflation. But then somebody said, yeah, but we are paying quite well. What is the need to do this? I said, look, here you get tremendous moral advantage that in a difficult times when the industries were not doing well, we stood up with our employees. We compensated them a little bit. And I said, when you do this kind of small gestures, this goes in a long way to win the minds and hearts of the people. And that particular thought process was accepted by the board, and some of the board members today are the leaders of the top companies, and they really supported this thought process, and they said, okay, we approve your proposal for giving increase, making an exception in the entire group. This group has hundreds of companies, but they made this particular decision because they got convinced that you can really have this small gesture which will help you to build basically the organization. And I always talk to the HR leaders whenever I interact with them that just don't have this, sorry using the word herd mentality.
Yeah.
That everybody is doing so, I would do the same thing. I said, look at what are your challenges and don't waste the opportunity to win the hearts and minds of the people, because at the end of the day, it's a people business, right? In a difficult times, the same employees are going to help you to grow. In the same time, you can even have a courage to talk to the employees and say, please, this year we will not have any increase in the compensation. I have my experience says that people have just accepted it and not made any argument in front of me and say, okay, we'll help you, because at the end of the day, we want the company should grow. And everybody knows that customer gives you salary, not the shareholders give you salary. So if the customers are happy, they will continue to bless the business, and then we will have enough money to spend. But if the customers are in duress, they are shrinking their budgets, so you cannot really then have a luxury of your own. So when you align this thought process of employees vis-a-vis the business strategies, I have seen a perfect understanding from employees, and even during that difficult time, we had high employee satisfaction. So this is a basically classic example that when you address this issue straight away to the employees, explain them your challenges and seek their understanding, most of the time you will find employees are supportive.
Absolutely. Got it. So the message to the youngsters or the people who would like to aspire to be genuine, support the cause, be authentic, and also at the same time, don't just follow the trend. Create something unique, bring something unique according to you, which is right for the employees, and don't miss the opportunity of winning the hearts and minds of the people for the good of a business.
I would say that all the HR leaders, aspiring HR leaders, today have unfortunately not got that kind of experience which you and me got when we started our career. We had a hostile industrial relationship. We had a lot of strikes, layoffs. The IT revolution just started in India. So we had a lot of opportunities to really gain that experience. Whereas in today's world, most of the business are now fairly established. There is a good acceptance for India. Globally, we are now known that India really promises good talent and all. But the HR leaders need to really think a little differently in order to win the respect in the eyes of the business leaders. They really have to be very genuine, thoughtful, authentic in their approach, and they have to demonstrate the walk the talk. You can't be just influencing people by speaking ornamental English, but at the end of the day, everybody looks up to you whether you can deliver, and when they see you deliver, then the respect goes multifold. So that's my personal experience, that the companies have really, they still have kept me in their loop and kept me in touch, and they wanted to stay connected. I think that is because you have left your imprints in their minds, that we have contributed significantly in this organization. This is a message for my HR, new HR leaders, that just don't work for a couple of years in that organization. Check whether at the end of the day, the cost that the company is incurring on you, whether you're returning multifold through your achievements, and you can speak with pride that I'm drawing X number of numbers salary, but I contributed in saving the cost or improving the business services so much.
Okay.
When you show this, the respect from the CFOs, CEOs, and also the employees will be much higher on.
Absolutely.
So focus there.
Create a legacy, ensure that you are able to create a very positive impact on the organization with your efforts. You heard a lot of insights and invaluable inputs from Milind. I'm sure it's going to help you in a long way to take a lot of leaps out of it to see that how you're able to contribute into your own professional and personal journey. So look forward to more of such interactions further. Thank you.